This is a video that I wasn't necessarily planning to make, but it's a video that I felt like I needed to make. Not necessarily for the sake of anybody else, though that is also a net positive, and that's, that's part of why I create videos, but also just for me, so I can kind of like air out my feelings on these things, I guess. So just to kind of explain how we got here to me making this video, basically the other day I was playing a game with somebody, and that's very rare if you know me. I'm always by myself, always being a loner, but I kind of like broke the rule the one day, whatever, just playing with some friends, and I had asked like, hey, how are you doing? She said, good, how are you? And for some reason, I kind of paused for a second. And I don't know why, because, every time somebody asks me, how are you doing, I always bullshit them, right? I always say, oh, I'm doing great, even if my life's falling apart. I still did as such, I said, oh, I'm doing fantastic, I'm doing great. But in my head, it was bothering me the rest of the day after that, because I kept asking myself, why did I pause? Why couldn't I just say that I'm doing great and move on? Like, why was there actually a hesitation that I didn't even try for? And honestly, I feel like there's a few pieces to this puzzle, and I'm sure many of you out there can relate to this. I feel like one thing that I've kind of been driving myself insane over lately is the need to have everything figured out at once, or the desire to have everything figured out at once. And it's funny because I'm one of those people where I need to start practicing what I preach, right? Like, I'm always saying, oh, you don't need this, just focus on yourself. Don't worry about solving everything, just take it one day at a time. I always talk about all this stuff, yet here I am with my OCD and ADHD intertwining and driving me insane and making me do the exact opposite of what I preach, right? So, I feel like that's one aspect of it, because even though I have a general plan of how I want to live my life, I want to play a bunch of video games, I want to watch a bunch of anime, I want to continue to create content for as long as I live, and that's basically it. That's what I want to do with my life. That is my ideal happy life. But there's obviously also other aspects to life, like, okay, where do I want to live? What country do I want to live in? Do I want to stay in America? Do I not? Do I actually want a relationship, or do I want to stay a single Pringle? Because let me tell you something, I have been single for over 6 years now, and I still stick by what I've said, where I'm the happiest I've ever been, and I'm not really actively looking for a relationship. But I guess it's just like sort of that bizarre part of my mind where it's like, oh, but are you sure? Because I'm gonna keep it a buck with you guys, and it's kind of embarrassing to admit this. For the last 3 weeks now, no, I'm sorry, almost 4 weeks now, so almost an entire month, and I kid you not, there's not been a single night where this hasn't happened. For some reason, every single night, I have had dreams of me falling in love, and I do not know why, and it kind of makes me feel lonely when I wake up, because in my waking hours, I'm not actively looking for a relationship right now. I've said it before, even though I don't want a relationship right now, sure, maybe if I find the right person one day, and if they're really into me, and I'm really into them, and there's no asterisks attached to it, right? Like, it's not, oh, we should be in a relationship because this, and this, or, we need to be in a relationship because this, and this. No, it's literally just like, okay, I love her, she loves me, and that's that. So if that would ever come up one day, maybe I'd consider it. But as it is right now, I'm cool with just kind of doing my thing, playing my video games and being a loner. That's just, I've said it before, I'm just happy alone. But I'm not gonna lie, lads, it makes me feel a little lonely when I wake up. I'm in this dream, getting this warm embrace, getting all the kisses, loves, and hugs, and, pretty smiles and stuff, and it makes me feel good. And then I wake up, I'm like, well, damn, because the dreams aren't even the dreams where it's just like, oh, that was obviously a dream. No, they're always so vivid and realistic, and it kind of pisses me off, because it's like, I don't care, right? Like, I still maintain my attitude in real life. It's just annoying when you have something that good in a dream, and it happens every single night. Like, why is it every single night? Give me my old bizarre dreams. I remember one of the most bizarre dreams I had as a kid was a dream where, for some reason, and I kid you not, I was on an ice rink, and Olaf and Kristoff from Frozen were driving at me in a red Lamborghini, and they tried to hit me, but they missed last second, so the car swerved and did a 180 around me, and I was like, what the heck? And then I woke up right there, and yeah, you can tell it kind of scarred me if it stuck with me after, how many years has it been? Like 11, 12 years? But anyway, that aspect of it kind of gets annoying, which that's one thing that I do want to talk about real quick. There's always people out there that are like, oh man, I really want to be in a relationship. I really need a girlfriend. I really need a boyfriend. I just want to be loved. And you really don't. I feel like for a relationship to work, you need to make sure that you are so happy and satisfied with yourself and with your own life that you don't, that it's not even that like you don't want a relationship, but that you just don't need it. It's like, you know what, if I get into a relationship, cool. If not, whatever, it's fine. I don't need it. I don't need that love. I don't need that attention. I love myself so much, and I'm so happy and content with myself and my life that I do not need that. And that's where I'm at right now, and I also feel like that's where like really anybody should be at before they get into a relationship. Obviously there's those few examples where it's like, oh, okay, we were like two broken people, but we brought each other up, and that's nice and all, but generally speaking, that ends up being such a toxic relationship in the long term that it's not even worth it. I'm gonna be honest though, every time I think about that stuff, I genuinely believe that I'm meant to be alone. I don't see a world, a reality, or a person that would ever really actually just want to be with me for me. You know what I mean? And also, just when I think about that stuff, I just, again, when I see my life in the future, like when I think about it, I think of the lone wolf. I think of the dude that's like the lone wolf living out in the woods somewhere. You know, he has his house, he has like, you know, the land surrounding him or whatever. And that's just kind of it. I'll just kind of like go out peacefully one day. You know, it is what it is. If somebody finds me, cool. If they don't, whatever. It is what it is. And that's just kind of how it goes. If it happens sooner, whatever. If it happens later, whatever. But that's kind of how I see it going. So I don't really think a relationship would ever even really be in the books for me anyway. Because again, I really do believe that, like, I don't know, there's just something that just tells me like, no, you're meant to be alone. This is like kind of your life. This is just how this goes for you. And I'm okay with that. I'm completely fine with that. I'm happy with that. If anything, as a content creator, I kind of feel like that thing telling me to do that, maybe that's just sort of I don't know, part of my calling. Right? To gotta be like the beacon of hope for other people, to be like, hey, you don't need this, and this, you know, even if you don't have even if you don't have friends, even if you aren't in a relationship, even if you don't have any family around, it's all right. You don't need all that. All you need is you. So, you know, that's I don't know, that's my outlook on it anyway. But getting back on track here, I just feel like my brain lately has gone so far into trying to have everything figured out this moment, like feeling like I need to have everything for my life figured out at this exact minute. But realistically, that's not how life works. Life is changing on a daily basis, and to try to figure everything out right now is simply pointless and a waste of time. Things change so rapidly, even on a minute-to-minute basis, that you cannot physically have everything figured out at this moment. And I always try to remind myself of that, but again, since I have OCD, I can't help but obsess on everything, so it's kind of like, it's like a losing battle no matter what I do. And even if I try to quote-unquote rationalize it with my OCD and be like, wait, no, it could work out this way because this, and this, it's still a losing battle. Come on. And I also just feel like lately, and I'm not really sure why, but my depression has been coming back, and my anxiety has been in full swing lately, and I really don't like that, because I've been so happy for a long time. But the thing is, the way that depression works, because a lot of people just think, oh, depression is just sadness, something goes wrong, and then you're just really sad for a while. But depression isn't like that. Even for somebody like me, where I'm constantly preaching happiness and positivity and just, you know, keeping the positive vibes, keeping the negativity out, even for somebody like me, you know, I'm not gonna lie, guys, the last couple nights, I've kind of just been sitting in my room in the dark, like, towards the evening, and just kind of, like, playing on my guitar and just kind of singing to myself, and it's honestly kind of sad, and just sort of, well, that's really it. It's just kind of sad, and I don't know why, right? Let's kind of be sitting there singing my Johnny Cash, you know, I hurt myself today to see if I still feel... It's like one of the first songs I go to, and I'm sitting there like strumming and playing at night. And again, you know, it's I don't know why it's been like that lately. And it's not like I get sad after starting to play the guitar. I start playing the guitar because I'm sad, because it's like a nice way for me to get my feelings out, I guess. You know, I'll sit there singing. Usually at this point, I kind of have like a playlist that I go through. I'll sing along and play along to Hurt, and then Snuff by Slipknot, and then like I have a couple other ones I'll go to, like Coma White by Marilyn Manson. And I just kind of sit there, you know, staring at the floor, staring at the ceiling, sitting in the dark, and I'm just kind of like, why do I feel like this? There's not, like, obviously I'm not doing it for attention, because this is the first time I'm talking about it. Nobody else is around me. Nobody even knows that I'm doing this. I'm just sitting in my room in the dark chilling. Like, why do I feel like this? And I feel like that's obviously more of a broader conversation about just depression as a whole, and the way that it tries to mess with you even when everything's like perfectly fine. And then my anxiety is like another aspect of it, where I feel like that's been bringing me down a lot too lately, if I'm gonna be honest. Like, every time I try to do anything, man, my heart starts pounding, then I get lightheaded, and then I need to sit down, then I feel like the world's gonna end, or I'm gonna be sick or something. And yeah, I don't know. It really sucks. I know there's like medications and stuff out there, but I'm sorry, I'm not doing medications. Never again. I did dozens of medications. I refuse to feel like a zombie again. I would rather be a man and deal with my fucking issues than drown myself in medications with tons of side effects that then require other medications and could completely fundamentally change who I am and the way that I think about things just in order to feel quote unquote better. I'd rather feel like myself and learn how to deal with myself rather than rely on a medication. If medications work for you, or if you need medications, then that's fine. Obviously, keep taking them, but I'm just saying from my perspective. But all of that then leads me into another thing. I heard this quote years ago. I believe it was by Jim Carrey. It was either Jim Carrey or Marilyn Manson. It was one or the other. I honestly forget which it was. No, I'm sorry. The Jim Carrey quote was, you learn to like not being around people because they drain your energy. But I'm pretty sure the Marilyn Manson quote that I'm thinking of is, you get depressed because you know you're not what you should be, or something along those lines. And that sort of ties into what I was talking about before, where I feel like as humans we sort of have this need or this desire to have everything figured figured out at this moment, and I feel like I've kind of just been having those moments where I'm sitting there playing the guitar like, am I really who I want to be? Am I really doing what I want to do? And obviously I'm doing what I want to do. I love what I do. But again, that's what your brain does. It makes you question everything, and if you have mental conditions like the ones that I mentioned before, it kind of just exacerbates things. And if you feel like this is a completely aimless conversation, don't worry, it is, but I do have a point at the end of all of this. In fact, let me just go ahead and get to the point, just in case I'm boring anybody at this point. It's okay to not have everything figured out at this moment. This is gonna sound like such a cliche, it's gonna sound so stupid, but just hear me out. I'm gonna run through some things here. So it's okay to not have everything figured out at this moment. As I mentioned before, life is ever changing on a minute-to-minute, second-to-second basis. You could blink, and by the time that you're finished blinking, a T-Rex could come back to life, bite through your roof, steal your Xbox, kick you in the face, steal your child, and there you go. You have to go on a Liam Neeson mission to save your child from the giant dinosaur. It could happen at any second. Is it likely? Maybe not. Could it happen? Yes. So it's okay to not have everything figured out at this moment. Instead, what you should do, and this is something that's been helping me a lot lately, is devise a plan or take smaller steps to achieve my bigger goal. So let's say like, oh, my goal is to, and this is just a theoretical, this is not like an actual goal of mine. Let's just say, oh, my goal is to buy a big house in LA. I would never move to LA, but again, just an example. Well, what, you could focus in on that big house. Like, okay, I just want to go to the house and I want to be there. But instead you break it down and say, okay, how am I going to get the money for the house? I need a job. How do I get a job? I go apply, and you start to break it into smaller steps. Okay, how am I gonna move everything there? Okay, I need to order like at a moving company, maybe fly my stuff out there, maybe drop my stuff out there, maybe I could get a U-Haul to get it there, and you break everything down like that into smaller and smaller steps, and it makes everything a lot more digestible. And you could sort of format it like a storybook. And I know this may sound kind of dumb, but this is just the way I like to do things. So let's say there's a story, and at the end of the story, oh, I don't know, the hero kills the dragon. Well, instead of just focusing on like, alright, giant climax of killing the dragon, you focus on, alright, first I need the sword, then we need the shield, then, then you need to go find out where the dragon's at, then the hero goes and, I don't know, has like a mini boss battle before that, and then they fall in love, then they have a few kids, and then, I don't know, then the husband has like that sad moment at the end where it's like, I'm sorry, honey, I need to go kill this dragon, I may never return, and then you hear like the violins going, even though it's a book, just bear with me. At this point, we're in chapter 10, and then chapter 11 is him making his way there, fighting all the goons, and then chapter 12, boom, there you are, you killing the dragon. Ow, that really hurt, I smacked my knuckles on the desk. Anyway, break every task in your life down into chapters like a book and figure out what needs to happen in each chapter, and I promise it'll help. Or do something similar, like, if you're a gamer like me, you could break it down into like, oh, I don't know, acts in Diablo. You know what I mean? In Diablo 3, how you have like 3 acts and you have like the 4th act for the DLC. Just break it down into the acts and the individual missions and quests in between each act. Hey, if you're an anime fan, instead of, oh, the Emperor Pilaf saga, this could be the, oh, I need to go make dinner saga. And another thing I wanted to touch on quick is make sure you're giving yourself enough self-love and enough self-care and enough positive self-talk. I've been really bad at not doing that lately. In fact, usually when I'm talking about myself, I've noticed my mental dialogue is getting more and more negative lately, and I don't like that, because usually, again, I'm the person preaching, like, have a positive self-dialogue. Make sure that you're complimenting yourself, that you're only bringing yourself up, that you're talking to yourself positively, and that you love yourself. Yet I've been looking in the mirror lately, as somebody that is recovering from an eating disorder, trigger warning, I'll be looking in the mirror and it's like, oh man, I'm at a healthy weight now, but wait, look at my stomach. It's not completely flat and sunken in, which means I'm a blubbering fat ass. And I wish I was kidding when I said that, but no. Literally, I've been looking in the mirror lately and I'm like, oh man, I look fat as fuck. And guess what? I'm barely even at a healthy weight right now. But that's just how your mental dialogue goes. So you really need to work on like rewiring yourself, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to work on like, hey, I'm not a blubbering fat ass. This is just what normal looks like, and I'm just not used to it yet. I mean, look at me. I wear large clothes, so it may look like I'm bigger than I should be, but like, look, if I like sink it in, like my stomach is actually still kind of sunken in, and yet I'm still convinced that I'm fat, just because that's how mental dialogue works. So right now, if you're feeling down, or even if you're not feeling down, I don't care. Pause this video or go to your mirror when you're done watching this, however you want to do it, and just say, I love you. I love you. You look great, and find 5 things to compliment about yourself each and every single day. It doesn't matter if it's the same things or different things. It doesn't matter. Just hearing even the same compliments will be enough to bring you up. Trust me. Just look in the mirror and say, you know what? I like the way my hair looks today. My eyelashes, on fleek. Isn't that what they said back in middle school? You smell that? Damn. Oh, hold up a minute. Dude, I got this new deodorant a bit ago. It actually does smell pretty good. Like, that's a genuine compliment right there. Like, I'm proud of it. I smell damn good. This Deadpool shirt I got, I personally think it looks pretty good on me. I like the color schemes and it matches my hat, so I like that. And, oh, I don't know, my arms are pretty tan. That's pretty rad. There we go. There's 5 things, and I'm not gonna lie, even after that, I already feel better. And then when it comes to self-love and self-care, that's pretty easy. Just make sure you're taking enough time for yourself to do things that you love. And honestly, this is something I'm gonna say. Normally I'm the type of guy where I'm like, oh man, you know, I need my 8 hours of sleep at night. But I will say this, if your schedule is really busy and you barely have enough time to, you know, even get your full 8 hours in and sleep, they say you only need 7.5. So if you need to just sacrifice a little bit of sleep just to make sure you're getting in like 5 to 10 extra minutes of like self-care and self-love time, whether that's like playing a mobile game, playing a game on your Xbox or PlayStation or PC, or cooking, or like doing whatever you enjoy, honestly, just make sure you're getting the time in to do that. Self-love and self-care and taking care of yourself and doing things that you actually enjoy just for the sake of making yourself like feel better and doing things that you enjoy is so important and doesn't get talked about enough. So even if you have to sacrifice a little bit of sleep, which again is contrary to what most people say because sleep's supposed to make you happier, I'm sorry, do what you gotta do, make some time for yourself each and every single day, no matter what. And one other thing I wanted to touch on is do not force yourself into relationships just because you think you need it or just because you feel so lonely. We already talked about it, so I'm not gonna, you know, dwell on it for too long, but you should really make sure you're in a good spot to a point where you don't even feel like you need or necessarily want a relationship before going out and seeking said relationship or before receiving said relationship, because usually when it comes to true love, it'll just kind of come to you. It's not something that you really go out and find. And beyond all that, I feel like there's one final tip here. Now obviously this is subjective to who you're talking to, but don't be like me. If somebody says how are you, just be fucking honest, dude. You don't gotta lie to me. Don't bullshit me. It's all right. You know, again, I'm really bad about that. Even for the people where I feel like I could be honest with them, I always end up lying and say, yeah, you know, I'm alive. I'm good. Life's good. But you know, if somebody were to ask me that last night when I was sitting there with my guitar, I would have looked them dead in the eyes and honest, like if I was being honest, if I would have said what was actually on my mind, how I was actually feeling, I would have said, you know what, I'm actually kind of miserable right now. Can we talk about it? Like, honestly, like, if I was to, you know, answer that seriously, that's probably what I would have said. But honestly, that's the other, you know, kind of annoying part about it, though, is there's not really much for me to talk about, because it's not like there's anything actually going wrong. It's just depression doing what it does best, where even when everything's going fine in my life and I feel great, it just kind of finds ways to mess with you. That's just what depression does, is what it is, not a big deal. I feel like there's one kind of final thing I want to touch on here, and it goes beyond relationships and other people. Learn how to be happy and satisfied with yourself. Now, again, I know we've kind of already been talking about this, but I don't know. I feel like it's just a much broader topic than the things that we even touched on, right? Like, just kind of changing the way that you think about life and the way that you look at life and the way you view your connection with others and the world itself, right? If there is one thing I could say, though, it's that you also don't necessarily just want to completely close yourself off from the world. Obviously it's subjective, right? Like for me, I kind of enjoy just kind of completely closing myself off from the world, turning my phone off, tossing it to the other side of the room, locking myself in my house, and not even seeing another human being for weeks on end. But, you know, we're still human beings at the end of the day, and even if I don't want to admit it, sure, even I have my spurts occasionally. You know, me and my lonerness, I don't want to admit this, but, you know, sometimes it ain't half bad speaking to other human beings and maybe receiving some kind of care, but I don't mean that. No, but seriously, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you guys. It's been 6 years since I've even had a hug. You know, I've had like a few casual hugs, right? Like, you know, when it's like Christmas and I go give my mom like a pat on the back hug, like, how you doing, mom? Because that's kind of how we do our hugs. We sort of do the side-by-side pat on the back. But I'm talking like somebody, you know, when you're like in a special relationship, or even from a friend, you know, just somebody you really care about or love, when they just give you that warm, loving embrace and you just get held for like a few minutes and you're just told everything's gonna be okay, just by somebody that you like unapologetically can be yourself with, that you really care about. It's been 6+ years now since I've had something like that, and I'm not gonna lie, despite my antics, despite the fact that I like being alone, despite the fact that I can give myself a hug, sometimes God, I don't want to admit this. You know, maybe a hug like that would be nice, but you know, it's been 6 years. I can go like another 60. So TLDR to that segment, learn to be happy with yourself and learn how to love yourself, but also maybe don't also necessarily just completely shut the world out. Don't necessarily make yourself cold over it. You know, you still want to be loving and spread love and joy throughout the world, but just also, it's all about the balance. Don't overly rely on people, but also, you know, just don't completely shut yourself out. Learn how to have a solid foundation on your own, and then maybe other people can help kind of add to that foundation and, you know, just kind of add to your life, add to your little world. It's funny how much I talk about being antisocial, like, oh, you know, anti-people this, but then, you want to know something? I'm a content creator, and my community consists of, at the time of recording this, like, over 5,000 subscribers. We have, like, almost 2 million views on the channel across all my videos. None of that would have been possible without all of you lovely people in my community, in my world, per se, as I just said, so first off, thank you for all of that. But also, just, yeah, I don't know. That's basically just my thoughts on all that. I don't want to drag this out too long. It's just, again, just some random stuff that's kind of been on my mind, I guess. Just some stuff that I wanted to talk about. Just some stuff that I've been dealing with lately, between mental stuff, kind of thinking about where I'm at, thinking about life in general, my approach to a lot of things. And, I mean, if I could sum things up as to where I'm at right now, you know, still dealing with the depression stuff. Honestly, if I'm going to keep it a buck, I recorded this video because I was really depressed before recording it. But I started to feel better once I started recording, which is one thing that I'm really thankful for this channel. You know, it gives me a nice outlet to just kind of vent and talk about my feelings, you know, unapologetically and unshamedly, and I really, really appreciate the fact that you guys are always so open to me having these open conversations with you guys. But yeah, I felt really, I don't know why I'm getting emotional here. This morning, I don't know, like, I felt fine, but before I went to record this video, I don't know, man, I just felt kind of like empty and a little sad. And my anxiety has also been bugging me a lot. Literally just had a panic attack last night. So far today, I only had a few mini ones, so hopefully I'll be fine. But yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. Anyway, thank you guys for always hearing me out as always. And hopefully this video helps somebody, or maybe just enjoyed listening to me ramble for a little bit. I love all of you. And if you're watching this right now, I am so, so, so proud of you beyond what words could ever describe for pushing on and making it to yet another day and continuing on with your day. And always remember to take care of yourself and give yourself some love. But anyways, always message shout out, thank you to all the patrons and channel members, thank you to all the low ball tier, and a big shout out to the ball tier, my last king, and be dad, manny, the big shout out on G tier, run of and some little cheese curl. Thank you guys so much, you guys are little legends. I love you. Go on, Nidodaki, arigatou gozaimasu. Have an amazing day, stay beautiful. I love you all. Peace.